Hello everyone. So haven't made a video in a while, so I figured I would attempt to answer the question that I've heard a billion things for, and all on various levels of truth, but I'm going to answer it in my own way. What the F is going on in this dimension right now, or this earth? Like, it is nuts. So I'm going to answer the explanation I have from my level, and that might appeal to a certain level of consciousness, those who like math. So I'm going to explain what's going on spiritually in terms of math. Now, I can't do that. That's impossible. But I'm going to do it, I think, as good as it can be done right now. So, previous videos, I've talked about the levels of consciousness corresponding to the chakras and Dock scale, root, sacral, all that. I went into some of the basic properties of them. I went into much more detail in my book, Levels of Consciousness. So the last time human consciousness had a big sudden step jump shift was the Renaissance in Europe. You know, that's where we came out of the Dark Ages and we started to become a more reasonable society. And the book Spiral Dynamics has a principle in it that's very true. It's like when 5% of the population reaches a certain level, the whole system below it kind of transforms into that. And that can happen on a world level, a country level, or like even a town level. But I'm talking about the world level. So what the Renaissance was, it was 5% of the world getting into the 400s or being like throat chakra dominant. So the reason began to take a foothold, and all society began to transform around that kind of 400s ruling class. I don't like that word, but like the people who are in charge no matter what the political system is. That's kind of the funny thing. So there's always been like sages kind of running the show in a cave, and no one even knows they're there, which is hilarious. So the whole world after the Renaissance began to realign to the 400s. The whole world was around that. And we were slowly evolving. You saw basically the world create like science, all that. And the playground we live in right now is because of that. It was a very yang heavy cycle of time. And then we were kind of running up against the wall. I was a physics teacher at the time, 2019. I had the spiritual experience documented in my book, which changed my whole worldview. And it came just in time for the perfect event to initiate this next big shift from the 400s to the 500s, or throat to the third eye rule. COVID. First thing it did is it kind of slowed the world down a little bit. So it got people out of their minds a little bit, and it kind of like, you're stuck in your house, so some more contemplation was going on. Life got a little bit more yin for a while, and the third eye is a very yin dimension or level of consciousness. And things began to get yin, and the other thing that happened is, oh my God, there's 6 billion stories about what happened during COVID. And from a quantum mechanical point of view, they're all a little bit right. Some I think are more right. But one thing it did is the ruling and political class didn't come out of that smelling good. Only the real believers are still like, okay, we're under good management now. So, and actually a lot of the 400s had that high level of consciousness weren't even part of that ruling structure anymore, because they thought they didn't really believe in it. And what was left of that structure really started to come down. That had to happen, because a new structure is now rising. It's happening in the spiritual dimension mostly right now, but you kind of see signs of it all over the place. There's another higher level civilization kind of rising from the fallen ashes of one, and we're right in the middle of this right now. A matter of fact, my senses could be wrong. I think we were at the inflection point a couple days ago. I felt it in that night. It was like, okay, we're at the exact center point of this kind of one world falling away and another world rising. And I think we're actually past the point where now momentum is going to start shifting really towards the new world. And that's when 5% of the world achieves a third eye level of consciousness, or a 500s according to Doc Scale. And that's where we're at now. That's what my calibrations say. And we were right at that. We were a little before that point in COVID. Now we're a little bit over it. And COVID was the perfect thing to kind of like become more yin. At the same time, the current power structure lost a lot of power. It's actually kind of in its death throes now, because it's using more force than it has in the past. So that actually means things that have to use a lot of force, that's actually a sign of lack of power. But anyway, we're right in the middle of this thing. A new world is rising right in the middle of it. That was my view, kind of using math and all that. God bless. I love you all. Mwah.